Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Welcome to yet another edition of International Forum. I am Wilson Omasha. Barely 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks plus, it was a happy new year, and of course for the North Koreans, it was a time for them to really test their capability despite warnings, despite sanctions. They went all out, being led by the Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. And they told the world that, look, you have to reckon with North Korea. You must reckon with North Korea. That was interpretation given to their action by so many pundits. What do you feel about that? The nuclear, the missile tests, and of course the adamance, so to speak, of the Supreme Leader, Kim Jong-un. Anyway, what do you think will be the implication in global politics? Do you think it's high time we called North Korea to come to the table for negotiations since sanctions seems not to be working? How do you think this country should be handled when you talk about global peace? With me here in the studio, I have a legal practitioner, a human rights activist, political analyst. Join me to welcome Barrister Abayomi Thomas. Welcome to International Forum. Appreciate your comments, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you.
Right. So very close to him, he is a journalist, yes, and also political analyst. When we talk about history, he's well grounded in it. Politics is well grounded in it. Join me to welcome Nowinta Ibotako. Welcome to International Forum.
Good afternoon, viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
And he is also a vibrant young man. This person really want to introduce. When you talk about international affairs, you can say, well, he just knows it. He dreams about it. He eats with it. He baits with it. But I wonder why he doesn't like local affairs. Why is it so? Join me to welcome legal practitioner Osahon Osazua. Welcome to International Forum.
It's my pleasure being here.
All right. I would like to start off with you, Osahon Osazua. I know all of us have been following the trend of North Korea, but this time around, at the beginning of the year, they choose to tell the world that we are still here to be reckoned with. Despite the threat, despite sanctions, they choose to test their missiles, not once, twice, thrice. Doing it as if they're just there on their own. But what do you think is going on right now in the mind of the Supreme Leader?
Yes, thank you very much, Winston. I'm no psychologist, so I want to know how he thinks or what goes through his mind. But I do know for a fact that the young man is seeking attention. That the young man just wants to tell the world that we are still here, one, and secondly, that we are still capable of wreaking unimaginable havoc. That you can only ignore us at your own peril. You can only overlook us at a huge cost. So that's what I think. You see, when you think about North Korea or think about the Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un, you ask yourself, what is it that this young man wants? What does North Korea as a nation want? And what does Kim Jong-un as a leader want? And if you sat and ponder, what was at stake? The Korean War ended over 60 years ago, and we have moved past that now. But we don't really know what this man is talking about. Why is like making trouble when the modern world has morphed and migrated into technology, into economy, into well-being, into the world has gone past is it think we are in the Cold War period? I think the nuclear bomb has been far replaced with the internet. The nuclear bomb has been replaced with good life, with good mobile trains, with so many good things. But it's still locked in the past. It think it's the time of fighting and warring and threatening and killing and maiming. That's why his people are poor. His people are where they are today, seriously underdeveloped, seriously hungry, malnourished, in abject poverty. But when you distinct this with the leader, you see that they are a military power. You can't take that from that. You can't take that from them. What they lack in food, they have in bomb.
We'll come to that aspect. What they lack in food,
Yes.
they have in bomb.
Yes,
Okay.
and it's so skewed.
All right.
It's so awkward that when modern man has emerged from the wood and is making progress on all sides, trying to ensure that our species survives and we all beat this pandemic for a better thing, this man is taking us back decades and decades, if not half a century,
Okay.
trying to threaten all of us and to make us concede and genuflect before the god of atomic weapons and say, we surrender, we surrender. The world is not going to do that.
Okay, I will come back to you. There was a phrase you used, more bombs and food. Both economic,
Yes.
Winter, I believe that you've been, observing the trend as a journalist also. I believe that you might have one or two things to say about this. He said North Korea is like, backward, that the world is moving forward, talking about peace, progress, technology, but this man chooses to say, look, hello world, this is 2022. We are here. Missile tests, bam. What do you feel about this, psychologically speaking?
Well,
Is he seeking attention, or is what he must do to stay relevant this time around?
Kim Jong-un is seeking attention. And from what the first speaker just said, the world has moved away from the Cold War. The world has moved away from the Second World War. The world has moved away from Stalinism, just as Stalin.
Yeah.
It was Stalin that even installed his father in 1950. King Song,
Yeah.
the father, the founder of the dynasty that has stated today. So the world is no longer in 1950. And, and if you are talking of a dictator, who wants to be noticed, a dictator who is even inexperienced, the man is barely 38 years. And the thing run, as I said somewhere, he run in his DNA. His father was a guerrilla fighter. His father was was in the revolutionary struggle. His father was actually a hero. The way he emerged from that war in 1950, that Cold War, because he was a father of the modern North Korean nation. He fought with an name and made sure the nation become what it was. But unfortunately, the nation has remained communist. The Workers' Party is still holding sway. There's no democracy in that country, and it's Confucianism. Confucius. We all know Confucius.
Yeah.
He was one of the greatest
Oriental
philosopher
in China. Yeah.
And he and his forebearer, they've succeeded so far because the Koreans, they believe in Confucianism. It has been indoctrinated into them that inequality is not the way in a sane society. That there are some people who must be superior to the other, and that's why you have the Kim dynasty that has survived till now, even where the lives of the Soviet Union has collapsed and things like that. North Korea is still. So what we see is a character that is that is vomiting what was conceived more or less by his forebearers. As he said, he see things we were in the 50s and the 60s. It's quite unfortunate. I think the Western power should move in and curtail this chap. Because what he wants, the way I'm looking at it, is seeking attention. He wants the world to more or less, give them another palliatives, economic palliatives, just as some other presidents have done in the past. The U.S. president. He wants attention. He has even repeatedly told the world that his country is famine. Is famished. That people are famished. The economy is in deplorable state. Nothing is working. It's a police state. It's not an open society. So shooting missiles across the eastern part of the Korean Peninsula is just to seek attention. And I think decisively, the Western leaders should handle in this time.
We'll come to that point, talking about the Western leaders and their own action in all of this. Barrister A.B. Thomas, they raised two major points, one of which is that we're no longer in the 50s. And of course, the Cold War is over, and this man is seeking attention. Do you agree to their points?
Well, they've made valid points. But I will say one thing. In Africa here, you will say you cannot ask a child who has been beaten not to cry. Cold War ended 50 years ago or 60 years ago. That is true. But has the sanctions placed by United Nations, America, and European countries been removed from North Korea? No. They are still facing sanctions. If you are in your house and you have not you have not trespassed into another person's compound, but you feel threatened in your own house continuously from different parts of the world, what do? As far as Kim Il-sung, the leader, is concerned, if I am poor, the only way my survival can be guaranteed is through bomb.
Wow.
Is through power. Power. Without power, America is nowhere. Without power, who are the Russians? Without power, small France can be invaded by Algeria. So if you constantly face threats across the border of North Korea, America has 250,000 troops. What are they doing there? And my little friend and my brother here says the Cold War is over. If Cold War is over, why can't you go to your own country and stay in your country? You are still stationing 250,000 troops, all facing North Korea. I am not saying that it is better for a leader to misappropriate funds that could have gone to benefit the masses of his country into manufacturing of weapons. But the leader wants to remain as leader. After all, he is like an African man. No African leader wants to live, except for a few ones we have seen, about 1%. He wants to remain there. And if he wants to remain there, he reserves the right to have power, to keep power. But the Americans and Europeans are not looking at this man, whom they themselves, the man went to school in America. So it is not a question of the man does not understand modern trends. He does. If I may digress a bit, what is Iran talking about? You are saying Iran should not manufacture nuclear bomb. Then they say, look, first of all, remove the sanctions. Sanctions has crippled the economy of Iran. We are not talking of North Korea, that has never enjoyed anything coming into their country, because since the Cold War ended, as we thought it was ended, as we thought that the Nigerian Civil War ended in 1970, we thought so. But has it actually ended? So you see, the Cold War has not ended.
Okay.
Because you still find America will not allow any country that has anything to do with North Korea to deal on dollars or oil. Only one country in the whole world supplies North Korea oil. That's China. So they seem to listen more diplomatically to China than the entire world. So it means that the entire world is against
North Korea.
North Korea. So the weapons they are manufacturing is to look, can we make one that can land at the center of America so that we know we are here?
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, sir. He raised a very valid point. You said the Cold War is over, but your troops are still stationed around that particular country, North Korea to be precise. Come on, Barrister Osazua. Don't you think that Kim Jong-un is really trying to protect his own territorial integrity?
Yes, thank you again, Winston. He's only the most naive amongst us, the most blind, and the most unthinking that would readily equate decency, honor, and goodwill to the West. And I've said that severally on this platform. They are no saints, they are no angels. They have their flaws.
Yes.
And they have their good sides too. But to think they are the good guys all together and that Iran or North Korea is necessarily the bad guy is to miss the point. But however, if you look at North Korea in particular, which is the reason why we are here today, you will understand something, that North Korea does not seek cooperation. North Korea does not seek peace with its allies, especially South Korea and with US allies, especially South Korea and Japan. North Korea wants to dominate because they have gotten it wrong from the very beginning. They think ab initio from the very beginning that it is only true power that they have lost. That on the technological and economic front, they think they have lost. That there is no way they can catch up with Japan nor South Korea. And these guys are so close together. Do you know the level of growth, economic growth, the level of scientific innovation, the level of the cutting edge technology that is operational today, both in Japan and South Korea? It is not even talking about internet speed. The West doesn't, they cannot even compete with the South Korean and the Japanese. Those guys have been able to hone their skills. Japan made a terrible mistake fighting the Second World War, and they learned that no, if we are to dominate, let us dominate economically. Same with the South Korea. But we have a dynasty in North Korea that only think that the strong will always take what they can, and the weak must yield what it must. That is the thinking. To dominate. That the only way to dominate is through power. Absolute power. Let us conquer. And such a person is a very dangerous person. You cannot sit down and make comparison between North Korea and say Iran or even Libya. No. It's a different... The North Koreans are in a different league of their own. As I sit here, I have big sympathies for the Iranians. Big one. If you look at what Iran is going through today, you will understand that that the world is not balanced, so to speak. That is true. That the world is not balanced. We have a nuclear Israel very close to Iran.
Yes.
We have today, because of because these people are not genuflecting and buying for the god of money, we have a UAE, a Saudi Arabia, who are American guys. And those guys, and listen.
You used to tell who are American guys.
Yes. Listen,
Okay.
please, let me quickly make this point before I come down now.
Okay.
Listen, if you look at, they say the war against terrorism, all this while, who are the terrorists? All the major, it will shock you that over 95% of all the terrorist groups in the world are having Saudi links. They are mainly Sunni groups, from Al-Qaeda to Boko Haram, to just name them. We hardly find one Shia and this thing. But the fixation is on Iran. Iran, these are the demons. Are you getting it? But if you look at the people that, if you look at North Korea, you realize these people, they have no ideology but power.
Okay.
They seek power to dominate and to maintain their hegemony, to continue to oppress their people. You think those guys in North Korea, they like what is happening? They don't. But they cannot talk. The maximum leader is so strong, it has coerced his people. In fact, even Japan and South Korea, they cannot really do much. Because
okay.
they have come to see that life is good. They have come to enjoy the good things, and they are not ready to give those things up.
Oh.
The North Korea don't know what their life is good. They are ready to die and let everybody die with them.
Okay.
And that's a dangerous thing.
Dangerous thinking. Now, you talked about they have this Confucius mentality.
Yes.
Where the strong dominate, and of course,
they believe in equality.
As in the weak must yield. The world, according to them, is not equal. But take a look at their own point of view, raised by Barrister A.B. Thomas. You said the Cold War is over. Your troops are still stationed there. You selectively give power to some countries to have nuclear weapons. So who is the one that means the right of a country to own nuclear weapons?
You see,
don't they have the right to, at least to remain relevant in the affairs of the world? When you talk about global politics.
You see, what is happening today in North Korea, started in 1950 and thereabout.
Yeah.
During the Second World War, you understand? And when that country was battered, with the legendary King's son. That's the grandfather of this chap now,
Yeah.
who initiated the revolutionary takeover of the country. Things were not the way they were now. You understand? And this man is still thinking in the way, but it's a dynasty. It's a dynasty that is in place in that country. And this dynasty, they don't want to lose power.
But hold on, sorry for interjecting, but everything was raised a very strong point.
Yes.
This president is really that went to America to gain knowledge. So
He went to Switzerland. I was reading.
Yes, he traveled to different countries, so he knows what's up in the world.
The
But
guy,
how come he choose to stick to power?
the guy was trained in the House of Power.
Hey.
He was trained in the House of Power. His father was the founder of the Republic. His grandfather. His father, followed the same footstep. He started a nuclear thing and he developed a nuclear power, from the blueprint that was laid down by the grandfather and all that. And this guy is now there. And by the time people were talking about the sanctions and what necessitated the sanction in the first place? What made the allies to close in on Pyongyang? Because you cannot predict, these people cannot be, they're unpredictable. Okay, we are talking of Iran now. It's an Islamic republic. The kind of leaders that have been coming up there, you certainly cannot even, they're unpredictable. I am not siding the West. I'm not siding Western powers for being, parochial and selfish in the international politics. But these are facts. Though I don't subscribe to Zionism, that Israel must be protected at all costs and all that. But if you look at the characters that have been emerging, most especially after the Iranian revolution, Khomeini and all that, these are people, these are dictators, ruthless dictators, whose ideology is just unpredictable. You cannot predict them. And they are not ready to budge. For instance, this guy in North Korea is a young man, he's not 38. With due respect, he was equally in Switzerland, he went to school. But he was brought on the House of Power. He has been tutored. When his father was president, he was supreme commander, he was going with his father everywhere. Father was showing him everywhere. He has been groomed to succeed his father. And they don't believe in open society. They don't believe in technology. They don't believe in internet. They don't.
Okay.
So what are we talking about?
Hold on. Now, if you take a look at North Korea, we talk about technology, talk about internet. They have all this.
Yes.
They have all this because it takes technology to drive.
I'm talking about in terms of economical opening and all that.
The economy,
technological advancement and all that. What I mean.
Okay, fine. I'll come back to you now. You just hold on. Barrister Abiodun, you heard the point you raised. I want to interject.
Excuse me.
Yes.
With all due respect to my gentleman, we have houses, don't we? If you are in your street, your house, and you don't want to belong to the association in your street, and you are not threatening anybody, would they not leave you alone? We should try and look at North Korea from the fact that they have a legitimate territory.
Are you not saying that they are not threatening anybody?
Excuse me. As far as I'm concerned,
Yes.
if Americans can just simply leave the North Koreans alone, you have 250,000 troops. What are you doing there, for God's sake? Is South Korea and it's the 51st state in America? No. Is Iran the 51st state in America? No. Who has appointed America as the policeman of the whole world? Who has appointed Europeans as the policemen of the whole world? If you are talking now because nobody has been able in Africa here to threaten Nigeria. If Togo were to be good Africans and they equip themselves and threaten you, you won't be happy here. We forget this issue of Boko Haram, Biafra, Ododuwa. We will come together to say we will resist threats to our territorial integrity. the way I am looking at this issue of North Korea. That is the way I'm looking at America. Now,
all right, now, Vice Epithos, now you just hold on, want to go for a break. When we return, you continue with your line of thoughts. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is International Forum. We have to show you major headlines making the rounds in our country. That was the reason for the break. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at North Korean nuclear tests, the Adamancy of the Supreme Leader. Barrister Ebi Thomas, over to you.
This nuclear test North Korea is conducting is to show the whole world that what you are trying to prevent us from having, we already have it. And if you threaten us beyond this level, we will hit at the heart of America. The present American president is not a warmonger. If you threaten him gently, the man quietly goes back into America. He has problems inside America.
Yeah, yes.
The French president has problems in France. The British Prime Minister, he's been asked to resign now. All of them have their own problems. Why are you concentrating on who told you that your democracy is better than my own, than North Korea's democracy? If it is not that these European countries are trying to dominate other countries, you tell Nigeria your democracy is imperfect. Your democracy, your opponent lost election. He refused to accept, and he invaded
the capital
with his own people. And now he's got a civilian coup, which means your democracy is not perfect. Why exporting democracy to North Korea? I'm not a North Korean, and I will never go there in my lifetime. But leave them. As long as you see, if you leave them with South Korea, let me tell you the truth. They are brothers. They have relations in both countries. So for anybody to think that if you remove American troops out of South Korea, that North Korea will invade South Korea, you are a liar. You are not seeing very well. Because when there was famine in North Korea, South Korea exported food to North Korea. Nobody burnt their hands. You have sisters across the border. You have your grandmother across the border. We don't want them to die. But when you, a foreigner, begins to bring missiles into South Korea, and you want South Korea to feel safe,
you want North Korea to feel safe?
They will not feel safe.
All right.
And the present problem you have in Ukraine today was caused by America. Otherwise, Russia did not send troops to the border when was that man's the former president of America?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump?
When Donald Trump was there, Russia did not do that. But the quest, as soon as Trump was removed, and Biden came, he said, look, we are now fully back into NATO. NATO must expand east-west. America said, no, you must not bring your NATO close to my border. And Ukraine has applied to become a member of NATO. How do you accept NATO close to your border? That is what led Russia to send 350,000 troops
to the border.
And supporting rebels inside Ukraine.
All right.
So if you do a simple thing, leave North Korea.
Okay. We should leave North Korea
alone.
Over to you.
Nobody should dictate what is democratic for any particular society. Leave them to form their own.
Okay. He said if US should pull out their troops, you're going to see unionism between the North and the Southern Korea Peninsula. North and South, they are brothers in so many ways. What are your views on his opinion?
Listening to my learned senior, I could understand from where he's coming from. He quite expresses my own biases about the West, about the way things are going. Just that on the issue of North Korea, I will beg to differ from him. he talked about NATO, about Russia. Valid point. Why will a sane Russia or a sane Putin allow NATO to expand eastward? It is, you are threatening the heart of Russia. Valid point. No one does that. Will the US allow Russia or China to go
use Cuba?
Yes, to use Cuba. Anything that is close. No, nobody does that. We understand. But if you isolate North Korea, I wish I could make a point for North Korea, but I cannot. Because this is a set of persons who have time and time again told us that what they want is to dominate. You talk about borders across the
border.
Where were the Americans? Do you know that during the Korean War, China sent over 400,000 troops? That what turned the war in the favor of the North Korean. Otherwise, they would have taken the South would have taken the North Korean. Yes. So it was what the Russians and the Chinese did for the North Korea, because it was actually at the heart of the Cold War. Yeah. That's what happened. That's why the Americans brought their base there, which is one of the, in fact, the largest, the second largest U.S. base out of the US after Germany.
But like what you rightly said, that one was 50 years ago.
Yeah, but the world has moved.
Yes.
For this man.
Okay.
Oh. You know, there's a gentleman called Mujahi, the president of South Korea. Do you know that guy is a diplomat extraordinary who has made several efforts to reach out to his brother across the DMZ,
They refuse.
Why retain American troops?
Hold on, sir. He has the floor.
Yeah, the
man refused.
The man has refused severally. The man is unstable. The man is dangerous, and the man is seeking attention.
But hold on. Listen. Sorry to interject. He gave a condition: stop your military drill. Good. That's what he told South Korea with America. Stop it, and we can talk. Why did they stop?
And what did Trump did? Trump stopped those drills. And what were the results?
The drills were stopped, but the press were still felt.
Even Trump, in all his love for this young man, in all his love for this man, he refused to listen to him, because he said, leave the sanctions, and then we'll talk about the denuclearization
zone. Yeah.
Do you think there's no circumstances under the sun that will make North Korea to give up its weapon arsenal? Because that is it is their lifeblood. It is their ransom, their trial, the reason for their existence. It is that is why we are sitting here to talking about North Korea, because they can compel our attention. They can say something, and they forces all of us to listen to them because of power. And they will never give up that power. What I think we should do, because the man is fighting two fronts. One is trying to maintain the dynasty of the Kim dynasty, to remain in power, and two, trying to project the power of North Korea as a whole. And by doing those things, those things are diametrically opposed to peace. Peace with Japan and peace with South Korea. You think South Korea has not made efforts? Do you know that South Korea went to host when they hosted one this year, they want to play some matches?
Olympics,
They want to play some matches.
Winter Olympics, they want to be one team.
Yes, in North Korea. Yeah. Because the man earnestly wanted. It's not about the West. If you leave the Koreans alone to themselves, they won't see the South is, they are really afraid. Because that guy is not stable. The man is not, the man ways they don't understand him. One day is blowing hot, the next day is blowing cold. He's so unstable, and because of this instability, nobody can predict him. Even Trump, in his love for it, tried to mend walls, to mend fences, but what did he get for it? Nothing. Because he realized this man will never, ever leave power. Will never, ever denuclearize. Because that is his life. Because that is the legacy that his father and grandfather gave to him. It's like throwing all away the gains you have made over generations. For what? For peace, illusory peace, as he sees it. So we must understand that you can't compare the North Korean issue with what the Americans did in Libya, for example, or what they are doing today in Iran, or what the present NATO altercations with Russia. It's a different ballgame. And I've said this several on this platform, that you will never see. This guy, Frank Kafka, that said that each time he thinks of the West, that he sees only a subsection of the negation of man and an avalanche of murders, because that's the way they are. That's the way they are set up. Right. Because the West they are powerful today because they are able to predate and prey on the rest of us. Because this West cannot really go round. So they took so much from the rest of us, and that's what made them
today.
So we must also understand that those guys are not angels.
Okay.
But in the case of this North Korea, they are getting it right.
Okay, you heard him. He said in the case of the North Koreans, they are getting it right. Though he said they are not angels, they have their flaws. But do you think that it's high time the world recognizes North Korea? Say, look, you guys are really the bomb. We really recognize you. Come, let's talk. What's the problem? Negotiating with them. Because of the stand right now, so speak right now, Japan somewhat is afraid. South Korea is afraid. Hence, doing more drills with American soldiers to defend themselves against possible invasion by North Korea. Take it up from there.
Well, the way it is, the West have always been, trying to urge Pyongyang, the leader in Pyongyang, to democratize, to put the economic plans and the rest. But as I said earlier, this man is an offshoot of the House of Power.
The House of Power.
Yeah. He was groomed. For instance, he had to even eliminate one of his uncles who served his father creditably well in order for him to have access to power. At 38, he was not even the first of his father's first son. He was one of the last of the 3 children. So he was specifically picked by his father. He was, and they made way for him. And, so I think the best way to undo such a character is the way the West is handling him. Because, as he said, he's unpredictable. He's a dictator. He's a dictator of the crudest form. You understand? The people are enslaved. And except, if possible, if the Western powers, I'm not saying the Western powers are saints, we're on the same page with the excesses of the Western powers, what they did in Iraq, what they did in Libya.
But in this case, you're saying they're correct in this case.
So if the West could infiltrate North Korea to find a way to destroy this House of Power, this intimidating House of Power that is disturbing the whole world.
You're talking about infiltration.
Yeah, the country. Because if the people have freedom, then they will have access to democratization, economic expansion, liberalization, and all that. But this guy is a dictator by excellence. He knows the game. And the way to make the whole of us feel that somebody is hanging in Pyongyang is for him to have shot those missiles into that eastern part of the Korea Peninsula. So I think this ding-dong will continue. Obama tried, upon all the palliatives that Obama did,
He didn't succeed.
He didn't succeed. Donald Trump, as he said, tried to befriend him. Donald Trump had the dictatorial attitude.
Yeah.
Just as he said, Donald Trump lost election, but he's going about the whole town in the U.S. with a big lie. Election that was clean and clear. A character that loved King John. He was happy having those meetings with him in Switzerland, in everywhere. He was taking photographs.
And nothing came out of it.
So at the end of the day, what did Washington gain? Nothing. So I think, for me, from my perspective, I think when the West, using their intelligence, CIA or whatever, even they can infiltrate the country to try and see if they can destroy this House of Power. Because this ding-dong will continue. This man is grooming another guy.
Okay.
I'll
come back to it. Now you heard him talk about infiltration.
Now, I'll take him. I take my brother.
Yes.
And I will say my little brother.
I'm a civil society.
Okay.
You see, I'll take him up on 2 points.
Yes.
One, he wants CIA and the Western intelligence to
infiltrate.
Yes.
That is, if you are invading the privacy and the territorial integrity of another sovereign nation, which is against international law.
International law is power.
But it was Soviet Union that led to that disintegration.
Because America, they destroyed the Soviet Union. They used Mikhail Gorbachev to the teeth.
Hold on.
We have not forgotten that.
Hold on. He has the floor.
No, they destroyed the communism.
He has the floor. Hold on, he has the floor.
What America did was to stay in West Germany, put up powerful radio stations that were going into the Soviet Union and enlightening people. To the extent that it got to a point, they said, look, this socialist system is not working. It was within themselves, and they started asking that, what are we doing? and they created 13 states. America did not go into Soviet Union to physically separate them.
We know. But they did
Now,
the groundwork. They did
what
the
you are
intelligence
doing
work.
now, you are asking if America did espionage, like the Soviets were doing during the Cold War. You are the same person who said we're not in Cold War anymore.
Yes.
But it's not the Cold War anymore. Why must elements and the features and the problems of the Cold War continue, like you said, deep-dunk affair?
Yeah.
Continue to be deep-dunking now. So it means that you have no solution. That is why the dunk-dunk is continuing. It means you have no solution.
That's the solution.
If you have no solution to the deep-dunk affair, I can tell you I have a solution.
Okay. But they are saying that this man is not predictable. Obama tried, he
Excuse
failed.
me.
Trump tried, he failed.
Excuse
And now
me.
we have
They infiltrate and destroy the gas of power.
Hold on, go ahead.
So that the people can be
Go ahead.
free.
Hold on, Victor,
Under
please. Hold on.
international law
To do that.
go to another country and destroy the gas of power.
Not running troops across. That's the way they do it.
Look,
Oh,
you don't
just
do
hold
that.
on. Let him
You see,
finish his
Go ahead,
point.
sir.
If America sent people here to come and topple your government here, will you be happy?
They've done it before.
Oh.
Without shooting a gun.
Just hold on.
That they've
He
done
has
it
the
before.
floor.
They use us here to do it.
He has the
They've
floor.
done it
Please hold
before.
on. Yes.
You have condemned the past. Let us move forward.
Okay.
And how do we move forward? Is to respect each other's territorial integrity.
Yes.
I have said, the days when Nigeria was trying to play the policeman of Africa, we had money. We went to Liberia. We went to Sierra Leone. We can't even go anywhere now because we can't even pay salary. So, I'm telling you that. Then number two, if America is sincere with themselves, let them first of all put their home
In order.
Because North Korea that we are talking about now, I have not heard of a coup in North Korea. Whether they are repressing their people or not, I have not heard of demonstration. Because they have been trained. The people have been trained. Even if they are robots, they are robots in their territory. Because when their president is somewhere, everybody will be
They're clapping.
It's unison. When Yadema was in Togo, if Yadema is coming in a convoy, Gowon was here. Gowon did not interfere. When Yadema is coming in a convoy, I was big enough to know. The people who line the streets will turn back and face the other side. Why the man they are clapping for is passing. They back him. Togo was as bad as that.
Wow.
Yadema was one of the founding fathers of ECOWAS. Gowon did not
Interfere.
Sometimes when you leave a powerful man to continue to ruin his own country, he gets to a stage where he wants to expand. He looks at it. Togo had nothing. So there was nothing that would sustain the ability to expand to Nigeria. North Korea doesn't have the economic means to expand beyond their boundaries. So all the rockets they are shooting is to simply draw your attention, like all of us have agreed, that look, I am still here. But how do you keep such a man to join at bay or to join you? Is to give him carrot and stick method.
The carrot and stick approach.
In international relations.
All right.
And how do you do that? Begin to lift sanctions. And begin to invite him. And tell him, no. If you send anybody to address United Nations, we won't accept. Come by yourself. They begin to lift sanctions. Who doesn't like sweets? Before I came here this morning, cough my voice, I've taken honey. And when I took honey, it was very sweet in my mouth. So, these people who are so much strong like that, how many times have you seen Putin leave Moscow to go and address United Nations? He doesn't. Because he's afraid that if he's exposed that way, some people may say, look, don't come back.
All right.
North Korea,
All right.
their own people will rise up one day.
Good. I like
Their own
that.
people on their own.
Yes.
But don't interfere.
Okay. You heard him. He said, don't have the means to expound. The people will rise up themselves one day. Interference making things worse.
What's your say?
In English, you get to hear the matter tire.
They miss to expand. You know, as we see, as we
Yeah.
speak now, North Korea has not only been able to develop the what we call the KN-24 SRBMs, tactical delivery system, which is said to be able to hit targets in Japan and then the whole of South Korea. They have owned it. That was what the last test was about.
Supersonic.
What do they call it? Yeah, the supersonic is 5 times the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And then they also have the one we call the teleguided for the accuracy, which is also akin to the US MGN 130 ATC.
That means these guys are ready.
Yes, they are so good.
The Russians have it.
Yes.
Wow. The Chinese have it.
And that last one is the most precise weapon system now that can hit targets, very precise. Just the good thing now, like what the American people are, they are spies and they are people are saying that North Korea does not have capacity to hit anywhere near the US coast, not even Hawaii, not even those islands close. That
But our allies in Asia will suffer.
But the issue now, would they leave those guys? Because those guys are working terribly hard. Give them time, they will get capacities to hit the US West Coast. It will come to that. So that's what they are trying to stop this guy from. All he thinks about is how to make his bomb smarter and bigger. All the man thinks about is not how to develop his people, it's how to dominate.
But will you blame the man when he's been surrounded by enemies, so to speak? Will you blame him?
Who are the enemies? Who are the enemies? Is it South Korea?
Him?
Is it South Korea or is it Japan?
The president of the US in his territory. I mean,
Japan
what did you say?
Japan that are disavowed military power.
Hold on. Now he has the floor.
Yeah. Japan, for example, that are disavowed, for a long time, they didn't even have a standing army. It's now those guys are coming to put themselves
because of the horrors of
the Second World War. Or is it South Korea that is enjoying life so well that will not be carrying bombs and looking for someone to kill when they are having the best of life? So who are the enemies? The enemies there is the North Koreans. That's why, listen, I have tried, listen, in all honesty, I have tried to make a case for them. What does this young man want? What's his problem? Who are these enemies? His enemies is far away. Is it the US that will not come and be bombing North Korea? No.
All right.
We should all understand that this all he seeks is to dominate.
Thank you.
All he seeks is to make his boss bigger.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stop him.
Thank you. Hold on. 30 seconds.
I've taken his permission.
Hold
Do you know why
on. Please
Israel,
hold on.
Israel keeps having nuclear weapon? Israel keeps having nuclear weapon. They know that it costs the whole money they use in maintaining the facilities of nuclear come from America. The reason why Israel has nuclear weapon is the fear of the Arab enemies around them.
Around them.
Yeah, we know.
And that's the fear of North Korea also. Okay.
That's understandable.
I think
Yes, please.
the solution
Yes.
from, as I said, ding-dong international politics around Pyongyang to stop is two. One, the Americans should do what they know how to do.
Infiltrate.
To infiltrate without the standing army and sack the House of Power in Pyongyang. Or two, they should equip the civil society. They should infiltrate and let the people rise up. Because until the people rise up, the people continue to be in slavery. Confucianism will continue to hold them down.
All right, thank you.
That's the solution.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Everything was blessed. 30 seconds.
Yes. My take on this issue is North Korea will settle down if there are no threats pointed at them.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, you've heard them. They gave valid points, gave strong points on the reason why North Korea is acting the way they're acting. Of course, solution to really curtail their action. But right now, as we speak, those guys are developing. And I think it's high time the world recognized them, that they are definitely the house of power. But what is power without control? Think about that.
Yeah.
Once more, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to the
That's
show.
very interesting.
I appreciate the wonderful analysis. Next week, Tuesday, God willing, we'll be together. Bye for now.